Welcome to video 2 of the Indigenous Perspective video series. In this segment, we will learn more about the students' worries and concerns, but also what encouraged them to continue their studies, even when encountering challenges. We will also hear about the importance of creating and maintaining an active life outside of the classroom.
One of the major things that kept me going in the Bachelor of Science after experiencing the turmoil and the struggles of my second year was my position as a work study working in a science summer camp. That was really what I dedicated so much of my time to in what would have been my second and third year. So rather than taking courses in that have gone to my program, I just worked and really devoted myself to working with kids in STEM for about 2 or 3 years. And then that kept me in the university. I had to be a university student in order to keep my work study position. So I would take one course, but I'd be working almost full time at the university. So my job is what kept me here. And then my job eventually led me into enrolling in the Wabbit Indigenous Teacher Education Program, switching programs entirely, going from only one course a semester, maybe two, to going to a 16-month program that was full-time, nonstop. That was a really dramatic shift for me, going from 1 or 2 courses max to 5 courses, and then teaching on top of that.
So all of those transition periods were sort of just me trying to figure out, where do I want to go? What's going to be the most beneficial for what I want to do with my life, and trying to figure out where I fit in, or if I even fit in academia. So that was really, really hard for me. But I would say that all of the moving was the most difficult, and then trying to figure out what program too, because your interests always change, and sometimes when you arrive you have one idea, but then you take another class in a different field and you're like, oh wait, this is actually what I wanted to do. So that was something that I really, really struggled with, and trying to go, do I even want to be in university? So I really struggled with that for a while. And then in my 4th year, applying to grad school, that was a real challenge, especially not only trying to figure out, where do I want to go? What degree do I want to have? Do I want to do grad school? Is it worth just applying to and then seeing from there? But I did end up applying and then deciding to go. But that time, figuring all of that out was really, really stressful.
One of the things that my parents always told me is that you stay in school, finish your school. And, just hearing that all the time is my focus to keep going back in my studies. No matter how many times I've attempted, like I said, this is my 3rd time, and I made a promise to my dad that he's going to eventually see me walk across that stage and get my diploma. I never walked across the stage for my high school grad. I never walked across the stage for my college grad. I got those diplomas mailed to me. So that's my motivation to finish, is because my dad's not here no more. And I told him before he passed that he'll see me walk across that stage at least once.
The people that I did speak to and the people that really gave me confidence were my cohort. Everyone's really, really, really wonderful, and they have different life experiences. We have a few common experiences, but it's really nice that there's a group of people that we remind each other of our humanness. We're all working professionals, but it's really great to just have that connection and that just openness to be able to say, hey, this is a great movie we're watching, or I'm not feeling this article. So you can bounce those things off, and I felt comfortable doing it, and I felt really honored to be part of that cohort, and then to hear how others felt as well.
At York, I found that I fit in a lot more because, well, not only was I in an Indigenous studies program, which attracted more Indigenous students, but also just there's a lot more resources than the other two universities that I had been to. So I really struggled in my first 2 years, but once I came to York, I started to find my place a little more. In my first year at York, I did struggle a bit to sort of find those people and figure out where I fit in. But I found in my first year at York, I connected a lot more with professors than I did with students, and they sort of pushed me into the directions that I was really looking for.
To also hear about other Indigenous people's experiences, especially in the urban context, and to hear their, bits of their life stories and bits of things that really help them through either their growing up with their identity or reclaiming their identity, because many people didn't grow up on their traditional territory. So it's really nice to hear people reconnecting, or maybe someone was adopted and didn't grow up with their family, but they connected later in life. So we were able to witness them telling parts of those stories in the class, and so we can understand each other and respect where we're coming from and where we are, and then wish each other the best on the path that we are taking.
I just felt like that I wasn't connected to the York student body as a student, as an Indigenous student, but I never really lost focus. And, I just always kept telling myself that I am still part of the community, just at large, just because that's where I grew up, and that's where I kind of developed my work skills and my everything. So, even though I don't feel directly a part of the community, you always got to think that you are part of a bigger community at large.
When I came to York, I did have feelings of not fitting in, mainly due to not being comfortable with where I'm at currently with my identity and my knowledge within my culture. I had a feeling that maybe I would have been judged, but after the first day of class, I think I realized that that was never going to happen within my program.
Some of the highlights of my time spent outside the classroom were getting involved in the community. There's a huge Toronto Indigenous community and lots of events that happen all of the time. And some of them I heard through school, and some of them I found on my own. But getting involved not only at school but in the city, due to the proximity, is a really great way to not only meet people at school but people just in the community. And also just exploring Toronto. There's a lot that can be offered from there, a lot of different volunteer and job opportunities, and that was something that really helped me navigate school too, and also get a lot of help with applying to grad school or other schools, because I had those volunteer experiences on my resume.
So in the first week of all of us meeting in the Waban program, one of our peers started a Facebook group, which was so amazing, because now we're all on the Facebook group together. We can all post, see everybody else's posts, and everyone's connected all hours of the day. So sometimes someone will share something that they found interesting that the rest of us might find interesting. Some of us will post stuff about a question that we have. So yeah, we definitely have outside relationships outside of the classroom.
One of the great things that came out from me connecting with the Indigenous community at York is I became connected to the broader urban Indigenous community. Prior to that, I wasn't really connected. We lived in the suburbs, and we were kind of always removed from the centers of urban Indigenous community. So I actually kind of felt alone as an Indigenous person in Toronto. However, when I came to York and I got to meet other Indigenous people my own age, that was really eye-opening for me. I have a couple of friends that became like really good friends, like best friends. That I'm still in contact with, even though they've graduated and gone on to other programs and doing other work. I've formed like lifelong friendships, and out of these friendships, a lot of connecting with community, going to like community spaces like the Native Canadian Center or like Anishinaabe Health. So I've really opened a lot of community connections just through meeting a few people at York.
What I want to share for any students that's starting at York again is that not to be afraid on walking those halls alone, because at the end of your studies, all those people that support you are still going to be there at the end. Your family, your friends, they're all rooting for you. And just really focus and remind yourself that you're there for you, you're there for your children, you're there for your family, you're there for your communities, and that everything that you're learning and everything that you're going to be bringing home academically, you're going to be teaching those to younger people. You're going to be teaching your community. You're going to be teaching your youth. You do have people looking up to you and admiring that you've making this step to go to school and continue your education.
If I could say one thing to incoming Indigenous students, it would be to connect with the Indigenous community at York, right? Connect with the Center of Indigenous Student Services, connect with ISAE, connect with your other Indigenous peers at the university. We're there, right? Because one of the things that I felt was really isolated and alone, but connecting with other Indigenous students showed me that there are others who are there, right? And that's always great and refreshing when you see like a friendly face that kind of gets it,
Something I would share with the new students starting at York is don't be afraid to reach out and look for resources. There are tons of resources, especially if you go to academic advising. They are very helpful and sort of know everything that there is that you can reach out to, whether that be you need academic help, you need emotional help, you just need a place to hang out with other students. They really know what there is on campus. But I would say, honestly, just start talking to people. That was something that I was really scared to do in my first year or in really any of my classes. I would sort of just sit alone, but don't be afraid to reach out to other students and especially other professors, because a lot of students shy away from getting close to professors, but honestly, they can help you so much. And they're really there to help you and get you to be successful. They're not there to be against you.
Any education program, you're going to find that your classmates are your best friends, because I find that everybody together, even though everybody's from different backgrounds, different ages, different education backgrounds, everybody is on the same page, and people are going to show up in different ways to help the whole group together. So, for example, we had one classmate who put together all our different classes and due dates in a document so you could actually see for the whole program what was due and what was next, which was really helpful. And then just even being in constant communication with everybody and just, being able to talk freely, like, oh, did you guys finish this last night? Have you guys started on this assignment? Have you looked at this reading? What did you guys think about this? And just having everybody so included in what's going on helps you through the program, because it keeps you on track.